Blessed hearts, you have participated in an action that your God presence performs for you daily. The translation of every note is like a ray of consciousness, of light, an impetus of life given to you with which to create, to embrace life, breathing it in with every current given to you. Sadly, many go through many of their incarnations unaware of what is acting in their world to benefit them, nourish them, guide them, and protect them. Somehow, the outer mind began to interpret life as a series of struggles and overcoming, one that could only be accomplished by the sweat of the brow, by the laboring in areas of life that were less than that which the consciousness of their own mind of God would ever dare enter. Think of it for a moment. Throughout your day, can you say with certainty that every thought is a welcome invitation to the mighty I Am Presence to participate? Is every action one that can be carried forth and continued even when your active outer participation has ceased by your own God presence? Can you say with certainty that every energy that emanates through your feeling world is harmonious enough for the mighty I Am Presence to stand where you are? There are those so filled with a worldly nature that they would scoff at this possibility on every occasion. For they have not touched the hem of the garment consciously of their own God presence. They have not had their feeling world so filled that the bellows were humming in harmony, ready to respond and buoy up the consciousness from the mind of God. Sad though it may be for a while, this state, which I will refer to as duality is a state, blessed hearts, that one need not participate. For with the acceptance of the light that your God presence proffers to you daily, and the willingness to make room for that presence in your life, all can be changed in the blink of an eye. Certainly, there are those laboring under heavy responsibilities, wondering why it is their presence will not lift that burden from them, why it is that they must continue to engage in life in an area they do not like or have great disdain. Blessed hearts, the responsibility begins with you. What has been the priority of your life? What have you allowed to be the constant rule of your day-to-day existence? For indeed, existing is what occurs when you are not communing with your God presence, when there is not the constant flow of the light touching each of the vehicles of consciousness that perform for you daily. Think of it as a drought, and how the very fertile seed will not grow if it is not watered, if it does not receive the light of the sun, if there is not the patience and the harmony surrounding to allow it to unfurl its glorious blossom. Your life is no less precious or requires no less attention from your God presence. But when the steel shutters have been pulled down and there is the locked jaw of a willful human determination to continue to plow through, not lifting one's gaze into the heavens of their own God presence, but allowing the days of time to continue to march on, and that same stubborn and yes, rebellious duality. How sweet, blissful, glorious are your days when the presence is at work in your life. Then the labor is not burdensome. Then the tasks are not disdainful. But you have the energy to pursue the God direction given to you by the mind of God. You have the strength of the physical body to stay the course, to keep going, even though there may be times when fatigue sets in. You are able to rest in the arms of your own God presence, awaking fully refreshed, renewed, ready to meet the day and the glories that are for you to overcome, the lessons for you to learn, the blessings for you as the mighty I Am presence to convey, and the glorious gratitude for all that you, as the one presence of God, communing in every plane of consciousness, stretching forth the hand of sacrifice and service, of compassion, fulfilling the necessities of life, understanding what it means to be an integrated part of the wholeness of the mighty I Am presence. For yes, blessed hearts, the mind, the emotions, the physical body, all belong to your mighty I Am presence. The heart flame that sustains these vehicles is the heart of your own God presence. When you begin to understand this, you will feel the reinforcements through your day as the light shuttles from your mighty I Am presence into these outer vehicles and extends out into the world of form and formlessness as the identity of your God presence creating. For every thought, word, and deed is creation. Either you are allowing your God presence to be that creator, or you are stifling your own life in stagnation of unreality. Eventually, the life force given to you at the beginning of your incarnation dwindles, and that lifetime fades away. The mighty I Am presence, understanding that you have accomplished all that you can, and the heart is withdrawn, only to prepare to come into embodiment again and continue the journey. It is always the desire of the presence that in that new embodiment You recall those lessons already initiated to you by your Holy Christ presence, and pass them. Learn from those previous lessons where you perhaps have failed. Then, having won that round, your presence can entrust you with greater light. The crystal cord, at certain points of your attainment, can be expanded. You have heard of the many dispensations that have been given to the sons and daughters of God. Through this very dispensation of the temple of the presence, you have understood that where there is the light of God, there is opportunity for you. But can you be honest with your presence and admit to those times when you have not taken full advantage of the opportunity, squandering away the hours, the energy, and not giving yourself that glorious achievement that could have come if you had but tried. My words today may seem very simple, probably no different than any of the world's religions which I have been entrusted to participate from time to time in bringing forth and teaching. All your presence desires for you in the allness of God and in the individuality of your presence is that you try, that you put the effort forward, so that when there is the exertion of your own energy, as much as you are capable of giving, your presence is then allowed to fulfill the remainder for the victory. The ascended masters are then afforded by cosmic law to step in, to assist you at every turn. The Karmic Board can then set aside certain amounts of karma for a greater good that you might accomplish. All because you have striven. You have given your all. You have not allowed for the world's gods to supplant your own God presence. You have allowed for the First Commandment to be followed. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. How do you suppose that came to be, written in tablets of stone by another who carried those tablets down the mountain, having received these glorious instructions from the hand of God. That initiate knew, just as you know within your own heart, when you place worldly endeavors before your God presence, when you make a God out of the human creation instead of the life force that your presence desires you to receive. O blessed hearts, when the light fills your chalice of being, you know the presence of God. You are then undaunted by any seeming obstacle of life. You have a renewed impetus that keeps you striving on. But as that light begins to diminish, you are reminded that the constancy of that light requires your devotion to the heart of God. It requires that you visit the presence daily in the uninterrupted peace and harmony that allows for the connection to be shorn up, strengthened, so that at every turn, when the requirement of your karma, of your overcoming any limitation, of your mastery and attainment in learning, you are set and prepared to have the current of light deposited into your consciousness by your mighty I Am presence, filling your emotional body with a charge of light, giving you strength, peace, and well-being in your physical body. Then you will understand the glorious music of the spheres and how they are conversations with the mighty God in all of his creation. Not all music will tie you in to those high currents. And this is a discerning faculty you must learn. For much of the world's music in this era will tear down your consciousness will not allow for the knitting together of your vehicles of consciousness, for they are jagged in their rhythms, destructive in their content at every form. But this is a lesson that must be learned. O blessed hearts, how I look forward to your visits in the retreats of the Ascended Masters, where I from time to time may serenade you on the organ, and not, as some have said in past times, only at your transition, but in your acceleration of the vehicles with the attunement of your own God presence. How glorious it is to see those who are drawn by the currents of light, of the glorious music of the spheres. I am most grateful for your kind attention. I look forward to our further discourse on these matters, so that you might have benefit of my experience. Blessed ones, the brothers of the golden robe, are always ready to assist you in understanding what it is that will illumine your life. If you listen very closely, you may well hear the voice of your own presence speaking to you. Perhaps by thought, perhaps by a wave of energy, perhaps by a glorious sunset. But nonetheless, you will have the resonant tone speaking within your own heart flame that the voice of God has spoken, and you will attend to that directive. I, Kuthumi, seal you in illumination's flame, that the golden elixir of wisdom may prevail in your life.